Hello, everybody, and welcome to Brinkwood Legacy. This is season 3, session 3. Super excited to get into it this time. So just as a reminder, this is a campaign where we play 3 different games within the Brinkwood setting. In particular, for this session, we're continuing Brinkwood Blood of Tyrants, which is the original game. We're going on a foray today, very exciting, where we set up lots of weird creepiness from last time. So can't wait to get into that. So before we do, let's introduce our players, including myself. So my name is Jamie. That's my partner, Matthew. Our cat's been shedding a lot of fur because it's very hot. But I'm Jamie. I use they, them pronouns. And I'm very lucky to be the GM for this series. I'm so excited to get into it and continue my reputation of having too many handsome, beautiful, gorgeous NPCs who are quite possibly caught up in the darkness in some way. But yeah, so let's go with Sherry. Tell us about yourself and Devella.
Hi, my name is Sherry. I use she, her pronouns. I am playing Developments Thrice. She is, her alias is Chop. We never use it, but I love it, so I'm going to say it. She has the Fey Pack wisdom, so she tries to make the right choices. She promises that she'll do her best to make the right choices. And certainly she started out with the Mask Judgment and loved that mask. But then Judgment had something they had to do, and so she had to try another mask, and she tried Riot, and she loves that one too. So I'm sure there's some wisdom to that, but we'll find out what it is. Her upbringing was faithful. She believes in the old ways. She knows the old ways and the old songs. Because of that, she had a talent in healing, and that means that she can heal without using the Mask of Torment, which is lovely. And as well, she has True Sight, which the type that she can hear the most ardent thoughts of folk. And of course, Surgeon is her healing skill. She's trying to become a mage because she's decided that she has to be more proactive. She loves healing. She will always be a healer, but that is a reactive thing, and she wants to make a difference because a lot of horrible things happen to people because of her, and she would like to right that wrong. And so that's Dovella.
Awesome. All right. And then Joel, if you could introduce yourself and Samira, please.
Yeah, hi, I'm Joel. I use he, him pronouns. I am playing Samira, who uses she, her pronouns. She is seeking sweet vengeance against the vampires. That is her pact. And she is currently using lies, but she'll generally bounce between like lies and riot in the past. Who knows? She might try something out different this time. But her upbringing is as a scion. So she was basically raised in the lap of luxury, had everything kind of catered to her. She was a wastrel for a profession and kind of ran a like entertainment bar type place for the vampires until it was used as a bargaining chip. And the Countess gave it to the Duke, and like all of the employees and all of her friends were brutally slaughtered, hence why she wants vengeance. And her traits are she can kind of lightly mesmerize people, probably something she picked up from like some vampires along the way. And she knows how to do her paperwork, and she kind of handled the books for that bar. Her associates are Samsor, a servant who attended her as a child, and Gael, a well-informed foreign spy who's done some favors for her in the past and isn't taking her calls at the moment until she unchecks that. And she's doing good. She only has a light ban. She's not too stressed. Like, things are fine so far.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. And then next we have Daniel, who's playing Bastion. So Daniel, tell us about yourself and Bastion.
Hey, I'm Daniel, I think. It's been a while. I use he, they pronouns. I'm playing Bastion. I don't remember Bastion at all, really. Bastion apparently also uses he, they pronouns. His hobby is community service, so he's apparently a pretty nice guy. He is a salt beast folk, so he's really big and kind of hardy, and has goat's eyes and tiny little horns that he keeps shaved down so he can put on his scary helmet and mask over them. He's a vanguard. His class is a vanguard, so he's kind of a bruiser. He was left as a foundling outside of a small fishing village that he lived in and was raised by until the village was ground under the dust, or ground to dust under the crushing weight of capitalism, basically, and he had to watch that happen. Whereas I believe he joined, the army of the Duke. I'm always getting these guys mixed up.
No worries, no worries. I think it was the Baron, but I will have to double check.
The Baron, okay. And he became sort of an enforcer, inflicting on other villages the same thing that he that his village experienced, until he saw the error of his ways and has joined up with the resistance to smash some vampire faces. Hopefully that's what's going to happen. He as a foundling, he was left there by Fae, and he is Fae loved. He has exceptionally good grasp on tactics. And I guess that's right. I still have a ban, which is taking on the Baron. I think that's going to stick around for a little while. Right, I forgot about this part too. He at one point found himself in the company of a bunch of, this is really hard to say, emancipated emaciates, and I don't know what has happened to them, but I hope that they're still around.
Yeah, they've been doing really well, so they're still around. No worries. So yeah.
Awesome. What did we call them? Do you remember what the
had a
name?
That's why we have our
I bet it's in NPCs, right?
Yes. So they are, because I also forget these things. The undead flowers. Yes. Awesome.
Nice.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Cool. Yeah. So
right.
I will say, for example, so like last time we had the undead flowers help out without question, because Bastion set that up as a downtime action. But in case we want Carmen or any of the undead flowers to show up in this foray, we can always say like, I'm going to flashback to when I tried to convince them, and then you roll to see how that went, right? So
gotcha. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, right. That's right. I did set that up as a downtime action last time. Okay. Yep. That makes sense. Okay, cool.
But yeah. Okay. And so next, I'm so excited to run for 5 players. It's been a while. I'm like flashbacking to my D&D days. It's all coming back. Okay. So next, Josh, if you could tell us about yourself and Cornix, please.
Alrighty. Hello, I'm Josh. I use he, him pronouns, as does my character Cornix, alias Kingfisher, because it's a cool bird. Cornix, like Devella, was of the old faith. He was part of an old faith sect that was tragically and violently wiped out by the vampires. Very sad. Following that, he spent a lot of his time as a cut purse, roaming the cities and whatnot, burning all sorts of bridges, and eventually finding safety in the Refuge, where he brings his old cut purse skills to the Refuge, acting as a rogue. He's actually doing surprisingly okay when it comes to stress and scars and bans. He's on a very lucky streak. Being of the old faith, he also possesses a bit of the true sight. He can see the footsteps that people leave, and he's very good at breaking into places. He is also familiar with Corbin the Sprite, definitely the same Corbin as Devella's Corbin. There's nothing deeper going on there. It's just a fun little coincidence. As well as Ionia, a reliable fence from his old cut pursing days. He is pretty great friends with the Mask of Violence, we'll call it friends. He's very good at listening to the Mask of Violence when the mask tells him to do violent things. And so far, it hasn't had any long-term consequences whatsoever. He's also currently harboring the souls of 3 dryads, which, that's fine too. Nothing wrong with that. Just,
Yeah.
rattling around in there.
Not at all, not at all. They're just having a good time. But yeah. And last but not least, our newest brigand to join the rebellion. So John, if you could tell us about yourself and Luhan, please.
Hello, I'm John. I use he/him pronouns, as does Luhan, but you can just call him Slick, because that's what everyone calls him. Slick is a, I was gonna say, what is it? Scale folk, not lizard folk. Scale folk, with the shining green emeralds, and also he has a bit of a slick outer touch, which is how he earned his name. As a cogs camper, his job was squeezing in between machines and unclogging things that shouldn't get clogged. And then when he got too big to do that, he found work working on ships as a sailor, where he learned to tie lots of knots and swing from ropes, which is quite fun. And all this time around machines and ropes and things gave him the natural proclivity to be a saboteur. So he has come to the rebellion because he is in search of his family that was broken apart when they couldn't pay the blood rent. And so as far as he knows, they are still out there. They've just been kind of pushed to different edges of the world. Let's see, what else? His traits. He is a Cogscamp veteran, so he's a workers person. He can rally support from the workers at factories, and he's also a rigger, so he knows how to tie knots and climb things quickly and scrabble in and out of tight holds. His associates are Philin, who was an unlucky Cogscamper who lost a lid, and then Braval, who was a skilled navigator and who we leaned on a little bit during our downtime to get some information about this cave that we have landed in beneath this fortress. And I think that is it. I am only half certain of what I'm doing, so I don't have masks and anything like that yet.
No worries, no worries. Absolutely fine. Yeah, we're so happy to have you, John. Yay. So with that, we're going to quickly summarize, mostly for our benefit, what's going on with this particular foray. So please feel free to jump in if I forget an important detail. But basically, we decided to go after Sister Red after making both Sister Red and Count Damask's lives miserable. Good job, everybody. So basically, we're here to finish off the job. Sister Red was disconnected thanks to your efforts from her main power source of the Dryads and the Fae that they were using to increase their vampiric power. And with Count Damask having a new body that's not fully there, it could crumble at any moment because we killed the witch that put it together. But basically, Count Damask and Sister Red have been going at it, and so Sister Red was forced to seek out desperate measures. And so we have, I'm going to bring up the awesome map because I love it so much. So we have tracked Sister Red to Fell's Hollow, which is this like really creepy, sad, stony fortress island dungeon thing that belongs to the Baron. And so we have this delightful person who's in charge of the place. Here we go, the Drowner, who's connected to the Baron. So the Drowner was once a vampire lord, but betrayed the Crimson Crown, survived being dragged by the bow of a mainland ship. His ragged form is tattered and bloated. So each part of him has its own mind and desires, kind of like an octopus, right? Like, because the octopus's brain is like all across its every part of it. And he has difficulty remaining in one piece. So the Drowner was tasked by the Baron to protect something in the dungeon, but we don't know what it is. So he is the master and prisoner of Fell's Hollow. We also found out through reconnaissance that the Lodrakes of Fell's Hollow, which is like kind of like this mix of like terrifying shark and dragon drake thing of Fell's Hollow, have had a taste of the drowner and wish to consume him whole, so we could use that as a weakness if we need to. But mainly we're after Sister Red. What we did last time was we set up our alliances. So we came across Cassandra, and now we have a name for the mysterious, handsome person who's super into Davila. So Zachariah. So we managed to convince Cassandra and Zachariah to join the cause by convincing Christina, Zachariah's younger sister, to join the rebellion. Wow, we made a lot of deals. I forgot that we promised that Master Tolan and Zaliva are going to visit the Grand Library. We also promised Cassandra that that she's going to be able to meet the Winter Fae, so our Fae patron. So that's a thing that's going to happen if we keep our end of the bargain. So we'll see. And yeah, did I forget anything essential in the lead up to? Because like I know where we are right now. So we've infiltrated thanks to Slick's friend. We found a way through low tide to get through the caves, through the underbelly of Fell's Hollow. We rolled really high, so we're in a controlled position, right? So things are pretty good. And so we managed to infiltrate the dungeon. There's like all out battle going on, like on the outside of the outskirts that Cassandra and Zachariah are taking care of. They have brought mercenaries and people to distract Sister Red and the Drowner, hopefully, so that y'all can like sneak in and find out what Sister Red is up to, what new power source they're desperately trying to take. But if you can find a way to get to Sister Red and take her out in the chaos, that's kind of like the main goal, right? So did I forget anything?
We know that the Drowner has a weakness to any portion of the anchor that drug him beneath the sea. And right. We have a necklace with a piece of that on it. And the ability to flash back to recover more of that should we need it.
Yeah, I remember. That's right. Devella's other boyfriend gave the I mean Argon, the doctor, who's definitely not Devella's boyfriend.
No, I have no feelings for him whatsoever. How would you say that? He's a horrible human being.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's right, because he was tasked with keeping the Drowner together. Oh my gosh, Arkin has been through it. Okay, so and we found out Caleb, that's right, Caleb is very forthcoming with Lady Samira, so there is that. And I had fun playing Soleil and Ashtar being teasing with Cornix last time. But yeah, so basically that's it. Do we have any questions? I'm laughing from the chat. Oh, we can give you a couple for Cornix. He's a swashbuckler. I'm sure he can pick up people. If the Dryads are okay with it, I realize. Anyway, that might be a thing. I don't know. So with that, shall we jump into the foray? I think my plan is like, we'll see if we can finish the foray, because it depends if we'll be able to pull it off. If not, I'm willing to have it continue into the next session. So we'll just play and have fun today and see what happens. So let me reestablish. You are all I feel like we're seeing you all like spread out in the lower levels of Fell's Hollow. Unfortunately, this part of the castle has undergone some strange transformation. The walls are starting to pulsate a little bit. Things are a little squishy and wet beneath your feet. There's a sense that the entire castle is just breathing in and out. It's very reminiscent of what was going on underneath the Cathedral of Sister Red when you came across it, except this feels like this feels like a more elevated form, right? Like what was going on in the cathedral was very much an embryonic kind of state, and this one is like, wow, that's super gross. Anyway, so this is like the next level of body horror, if I'm going to be honest. But yeah, so how would we like to proceed? You're in a controlled position. You can hear in the distance the battle going on, right? You can tell that Cassandra and Zachariah are not holding back. You can hear gunpowder and everything outside, right? So it's very well placed chaos out there. What would we? Does someone have an idea for what they'd like to do to track down what's going on or do something else?
So one of the things is that typically there has been, in order for these flesh things to be created, there were sacrifices that were required. And also she tended to hide her power sources with unfortunates bound around them. So I think that I might start with trying to use my true sight to see if I can hear the ardent thoughts of any of her victims so that we might locate where she's been working.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and so that definitely sounds like a tune or something similar, because you're like increasing your
my awareness of this horrible place.
Yes. I will say, thankfully, you're in a controlled position, right?
Yes.
And I would say normally the effect would be standard, but because you've done this before, like they were rattling around in your head last time, we're going to push up the effect to great, actually. So
okay.
If you want to drop it, so this is, you don't really need to for this role, but just so that John's aware, if Sherry wanted to drop the position, right, from controlled to risky, then she could further increase the effect if she likes, right? So, but yeah, but I assume you want to stick with controlled, right?
I'm cool with it controlled. I would like to not start the day off with psychic feedback, but that's just me.
Yeah.
I'm sort of conservative. So I'm gonna roll 2 dice. So I'm plopping 2 out here, and then I will roll them. Okay. I got 2 6s. I critted on this.
Whoa, amazing. We're off to, okay, no, GM's not allowed to say anything about the dice. Okay,
Right.
so I'm going to say, like, what does it look like as you try to reach out and connect? Like, what do we see and what's going on for you inside?
I think one of the things that she does is she kind of like turns to the others and she asks them to stay in place, and she steps forward until like her sense of them drops just enough that it's not completely fogging what she's doing. And then she'll sort of touch some of that pulsating stuff, and she will pray to listen to those who need her help, but quietly, like to herself.
Right. Absolutely. And so from your perspective, it's like you're being pulled into the depths of the castle, like you're going quickly through the corridors, through your mind, tracking down this particular voice. You're picking up the most ardent thoughts. And this is, last time, it was like a chorus of voices, right? And so you could still pick out the individuals, but this time it sounds like there's like a drone-like quality when the voices speak, and they all speak as truly as one. Like it's so hard to pick out the individual voices, and they just say over and over again, the mermaids, we must protect the mermaids until they are ready for the harvest. And so you can pinpoint exactly where this is. You can also see, I think with the crit, no problem, you're going to see what wards that Sister Red has put up in place. They're stronger than last time, than the last of the wards that you set up, but you can sort of sense that instead of just like, because it used to be just a wall of people last time and Emesians that were like protecting the area, instead you have this, you can see like along the walls, there are people that are like sleeping in these cocoon-like things that are waiting to like come out if they sense anyone is going to come nearby. But they're currently like, it's not even just sleeping, right? They're kind of in this state of blankness. And you realize that's where the voices are all coming from.
All right.
But just for the sake of like clarity, they have been recently sacrificed. So they're not fully like, hence why they haven't been like, you know, put together like last time.
Yes. All right. Okay, and so that first thing, I think that this is one of those things that she knows that she would use the Mask of Wisdom now in this time, or judgment, because it will be trying to figure out who we can save and how and when. So she will don that mask and she will tell the others where we are headed.
Yeah, so
and what the nature of it is.
Awesome. So we're gonna put on judgment. I think I hit that tab. Let me just double check. I did. So here we go. So judgment, would you like to, you currently have 2 oaths. Would you like to roll it? Oh, but you're already at like 6 essence. So
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I could still roll, I guess, to get the 7.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, like no matter what you roll, you're going to get it, right? You're going to get, yeah.
So we'll pop it up to 7.
Yeah, but what is the oath that you make to judgment? That's related to your pact of wisdom. And I'm going to write it down so we don't lose track.
Yeah, exactly. That she will save who she can here.
Yeah, and so like, what does it look like as you put on the mask of judgment? How does it change your face or your appearance, if any?
It's weird because I think after Riot, she's sort of gotten this, Riot put the idea of her becoming a general in her head. And so now she's sort of like, when she picks up judgment, her approach to it is very much a sort of questioning of what does she need to do to be worthy and capable. And I think that when she puts that mask on, she actually, it makes her look like she's a child. Like it's like her child's face, not her adult face, because she's sort of petitioning how does she need to grow into this role if she's to take it on.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And so as you place it, you can sense judgment has changed since the last time you put them on. Your vision, the edges of it are tinged with red, and you can tell that judgment has learned a lot from the gore mass it had to digest last time.
And I think I send a little ping of sympathy and reassurance and sort of questioning, like, what do you need, if that makes any sense.
And judgment says, I accept your oath to save who we can, but I must let you know, Davella, there are dozens here who need our help. And I cannot make the choice for you of who is worthy to be saved or not.
Understood.
And then judgment sort of pauses and says, Zachariah, an interesting choice.
Well, of course we'll save him. Okay.
Cut to the masks at the water cooler, gossiping about everybody's love lives again. Okay, so with that, we know exactly where we're going to go. So I'll say like, it'll be easy for Davella to point out to anybody which way you're headed. Do we want to head there? Is there anything people would like to do to set up something? Like I said, you don't have to put on the masks until you absolutely know you're going to use any aspect of them. So, but yeah, Okay, so we'll cut to everyone moving through the castle. I will say, even though it's a controlled position and even though most people are distracted, there's still like some form of patrols going on, like the very bare minimum in the area. So we're going to have to try to find a way to get past them. So an obvious way is to sneak past them. This would be prowl. But if anybody has any other ideas, but
Is there some way that they're able to move past those waiting forms that we might be able to take from them?
do you mean you want them to try to like trigger the trap, or?
Well, we can either have them trigger the trap, or maybe there's something that they're wearing that prevents those things from like attacking them.
Oh, I see. That's a good idea. Would anyone like to try to figure that out? Like take that from one of the so I'll say, like, as you see around the corner, this is very much Star Wars, right? When you see like a couple of stormtroopers going past, but they're sort of dragging their feet. They kind of look like what the drown looks like. There are bits and pieces of them, and they're sort of infused with different creatures that you would find in the ocean. And so, but you can't see just from like looking at them if they have anything on them that's protecting them from, we'll just call them like the hibernating, just so you know what we're talking about. But does anyone have, I mean, you could like, there are many ways we can approach this to figure out what's going on.
Just a quick question. Since I wasn't here last week, did we take like, are we doing a stealthy approach?
Ooh, the approach we picked was, dun, dun, dun. Let me look.
Fast.
That's right, like in and out, basically was the
Fast.
idea.
Okay. Okay.
But once again, that's just the initial approach. So
Right. So should I assume like a light load is what makes sense?
oh, we gave Bastian the opportunity to go in heavy if he wants
Hilarious.
to,
I love you guys.
as usual. So we all thought about you. So you can go as
That's
heavy as you like.
Okay. I can just like see everyone just sort of like taking one piece of Bastion's equipment for him, just like carrying it around. Hilarious. Okay.
You know he'll need this. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So how big are these wandering patrolling groups of?
Right now, you can see that there's a pair. One looks to be about normal size. The other one has like part of a shark like attached to them, so they're like grotesquely large compared to the others. It's like a very much a Junji Ito situation. But yeah, so one of them is quite large, but the other one normal sized, and the two of them are moving at an uneven pace.
The part of a shark, which part of the shark?
Oh yeah, I mean, we have to have like, so there's his head, and then there's like a huge shark head right next to, his head, because it has to be the most intense version possible. The tail.
Thank you for that.
Maybe I should have gone with the cute tail. That would have been nicer. So, but you can see the shark is still very much alive, right? Like it's like you can see its gills moving.
So I think Bastion will see Chop kind of examining them from afar, and they'll just kind of shuffle forward as quietly as they can, and sort of like lean into Chop and say, "Did you want them?"
Sorry, you're muted, Sherry.
She sort of steps and she goes, actually, that might be terribly useful. Oh, yes.
Okay, so Bastion's gonna just whip a big old axe off his back, and he's gonna go clobber a couple of guys.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So still in the control position because you're completely going to shock them. I'm going to say it's risky only because there are two of them. One of them could try to sound the alarm, right? So that's the risk here. What skill do you think? I mean, it sounds like skirmish, but did you have something else in mind?
Nah, it feels like a skirmish to me.
Okay, so you have 2 dice. If you want to stick with the 2 dice, we can do that, but we have other options if you want to increase or add the die.
Yeah, let's see. I've got 2. I don't know. What would a mask? They're not called devil's bargains. They're called
That's right.
what are
Mask
they called?
bargains. Yes, yes, yes.
What would a mask bargain look like here?
Ooh, which mask do you want to put on, do you think?
Oh, right. I guess I have to be wearing one, huh? I don't think it's time for that yet. I mean, we all know which mask it's gonna be when it is that time, but I don't
I
think
don't
it's time
mind
for that yet. So
going in for an assist if you want it.
True, true.
yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Like
Cornix
that
can
makes
do that.
sense. Let's both go in, and I guess I'll push. So I'll go up to 3 stress.
Mhm.
That'll give me 3 dice.
Mhm.
4
Oh.
dice with the assist, right?
Don't be afraid. Let's put you down to 0. I would have, because everyone took a. I don't think you were there when we took that downtime action to rest. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah,
I'll go to 1.
Totally all went to the bathhouse. So
Yeah. So I think, yeah, let's go with, yeah. So you have 1 and then Cornix marks. So let me just explain it for John. Cornix decided to assist, right? So, because normally if you push yourself to get an extra die, it's 2 stress, right? And then
Oh, is it? Okay.
yeah, so it's a little harder. But if you help someone, it's only 1 stress, right? So, but because Bastion is doing both, that means they get 4 dice instead of just a 2.
4 dice.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What does it look
Okay,
like
so
when
I'll go up to-
Cornix helps out? Like, I'm imagining like this kind of roguish. Oh no, is this like are you distracting them from behind or something like?
Ooh, yeah, I think Cornix can make a great distraction. I mean, even maybe not even from behind, but sort of like jumping out in front, being real obnoxious as Bastion comes in from behind with that big murder axe.
Like
right?
from the shadows, this huge hulking figure.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. All right, let's see the roll.
I love it. All right, here we go. Let's see. I knew how to do this once upon a time. Okay, that looks right. And then roll select the dice. There's a 6.
Perfect. All right. So what does it look like when I'll say you can take up both of them at the same time. What does it look like?
Okay. I think so. I love the idea of Cornix like kind of gesturing up in front of them, kind of, like popping out and like waha or whatever, if that works for you.
Exactly.
And then the 2 of them just kind of like look at each other, and then they look down at Cornix, and then like just like a giant shadow from a giant shadow behind them, and Bastion is there, and we just like the camera just sort of, and then a moment later Bastion is coming back with a giant like severed shark head in one hand and handing it to Chop.
she's so pleased someone's called her Chop too. So
I'm trying to make a point of it now because I know you've always said that no one ever calls her Chop. So it's going to be Chop forever.
And to commemorate,
So cool.
Bastion has chopped someone for you too. So, So you have the head, I assume of the smaller one, maybe not the one with the shark attached to the other head.
Have all the heads.
Yeah. We could do that.
Yeah, and essentially I guess probably make an attune roll or something to see if I can figure out what it is that allows them to walk past these forms without getting jumped.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
All right.
So things are still in a controlled position because of the I'm being more transparent about my GM decision. So because Bastion did it so well, I assume it happened so quickly and quietly that we're still in a controlled position. So Chop, you are like on the ground, like kneeling over, studying.
Yes, the shark head is still kind of twitching around, the way shark heads are. Okay, so I'm gonna roll 2 dice.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones I moved over there. Oh, I trashed them by accident. Oops.
No
Now
worries.
I'm just rolling them.
No worries.
And they rolled the same that they were before, so I got a 5 for my attune.
Okay, so as you oh, sorry, I forgot to mention that the effect is standard. So as you take a closer look, you can see like the different threads of energy that were like connected between the different animals they were connected to, what their original forms were, just sort of like tied together. You pick up on like hints, like brief flashes of the tragedy that these two went through before. Well, I say tragedy because they have been through it, but you can see how they sought out the drowned and offered their fealty in exchange for power, right? Because they wanted that power for their own nefarious reasons. But as you pick apart, you can see that each of them has, okay, I'm going to resist the urge to be super gross. Let's just say they're wearing it as a necklace. Okay. So each of them, underneath their like tattered clothes, you can see that they have this, it looks like a bit of bone, but it's wrapped with like this waterlogged hair. But there's something weird about the hair. Like instead of it just being black, it's this like oil slick incandescent kind of color. And as you pick it up, you can hear this like strange tune in your head, like it's broken up as you touch it. So I'm going to say, because we have a 5, I'm just going to read what happens in a controlled situation. There's a minor consequence, some minor complications along those lines. There are lots of options I can choose from here, but I'm going to say the minor complication is that you can sense that you've sort of like tripped a means of like knowing if one of these things are touched. If they're touched by someone that's not supposed to be able to pick them up, you can sense like that, and it's moving towards someone, that energy to like inform them. And you can see it's this bright red color that's like leading through the dungeons. So you can try to resist this consequence to make sure it doesn't get back to this person.
I will do that because I do actually have the means, which is I have some attune and that sort of tiny bit of magic. So I will attempt to resist.
Okay.
And so this would be a resolve roll. Is that what those are?
Mm-hmm,
magic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what is my score in that? 2. Okay. So I'm rolling 2 dice. So I'll roll these same 2 dice. And I get a 6.
Oh, nice. So you only take 1 stress to resist it. Perfect. Excellent. Right. So John, I'll slow that down for you. You can see in the player reference under action roll flowchart number 5 is you want to resist the consequence, right? And then so I will state if it's an insight, prowess, or resolve roll, and then you just take how many stress depending on the roll, right? So but yeah, so you push yourself a little bit. You're able to like, there's that thread of energy and you're able to like grab it and pull it back just in time. And you hear judgment saying like, it's only been a short time, my dear, but you've improved quite a bit.
Because I had a lot of time and I wanted to make sure I was useful when you came back.
I see. Perhaps Riot has more to teach you than I do. And there's like a hint of like, jealousy.
And I'm like, pshaw.
Absolutely. But I'll say like with that, you're also able to tell quite clearly that this was supposed to get back to Sister Red, right? So you were able to stop that in time. But so she's connected to each and every one of these things. So the trick is you're going to have to find a way. You can wear this one now safely if you like. The other head has one attached, well, used to, around its neck before it was gone. You'll have to find a way to carefully place it on someone if you need to, but you wearing one should be enough. Okay. Oh, sorry, you read it.
If we decide to break into 2 groups, I will do that. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes sense. Okay, so are we going to move ahead? Right, and at any time if someone wants to say, I want to flash back to when I did blah, 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 please feel free to do so. That's one of the powers of the system.
We do know that we're heading towards mermaids. So that's the thing is, all of you should be thinking about mermaids. What are we going to do?
Yeah, it's true. So as you move, you go deeper and deeper, like you realize you're going into a part of the of the castle that's like built, like you realize this part of the island goes deep into the water, right? So you go down these spiraling staircases, you can hear the dripping water. The sounds of battle are quite muted now. It's so distant you can barely pick them up anymore. But as you go down this, the staircase is getting narrower and narrower. They're like strange torches that are giving off this like sputtering light. It's not normal light. It's not this warm red color. There's kind of like a greenish, purplish tinge to it. And the closer you get to the fire, the more cold it is actually. And as you go deeper, this part feels much more warm. The air is thick with that warm, it's like someone is constantly breathing on you. And the walls are that much more fleshy. It's almost difficult to walk down these steps. And you see the skeletal remains of someone who has tripped and is like slowly consumed by the walls. But mostly just their skeletal remains are there. You can tell that their flesh has been licked clean by whatever is here. But you make your way deeper down. And then that's when you hear, because I feel like I should say Chop, just to like really, every time we're in a foray, we'll call Devella Chop. Okay, so Chop, you can you can pick up those ardent thoughts that you were able to connect to earlier, that same strange chorus of a voice, and this like, and then you can see this narrow corridor, and you can see what you saw earlier, like these pods that are just slowly breathing in and out, and you can sort of make out the silhouette of the figures of each one as they're sort of moving and twisting in this like strange non-sleep. So you do have the thing on, but do you want to just walk in? Oh, sorry, Sherry. I can tell Sherry's really excited today because she's having a hard time unmuting.
super. Okay, yes. So to Chop, what's important is that she understand if she can save these people. Because if we can kill Sister Red, we might actually have a certain amount of luxury of time for some parts of it, but we have to understand what falls apart when Sister Red is gacked as well. So think so she will go cautiously to do at least a little bit of sizing up and then to see beyond what they're protecting.
Yeah, and because you rolled a 6 earlier, I won't make you roll again right now. As you take a closer look and study it, the thing that you notice immediately is that as their faces, and it's kind of like in a laboratory with the glass jar when so there's a moment when their faces turn, they all look like argon.
No. You mean pale? You don't mean they look like argon. You mean they're all pale and bleached white, right?
They all look like argon.
Okay, that is very unkind.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm dying behind the mute. Okay. But you can tell they've been all made to look like it, right? And so the faces kind of melt for a moment, and then they turn instead into Zachariah's face, and then they melt again and turn into your face, but they keep wanting to settle into Argon's face over and over again, no matter what, like as if that's what they're comfortable with.
All right. Well, I'm sure once they're acquainted with my lovely companions, they'll want to turn into their faces too. So I'm not going to let this disturb me too much, though.
Absolutely.
All right.
But your question was, because they're not yet, I'm trying to find a nice way of putting it, because they have not been connected together yet, right? It's still quite easy to save them. You do know that they are connected to Sister Red. You do know that if you get to her first, she might use them to like, basically if you kill her first, it might be harder to save them. That's right.
Okay.
But you know that they're connected to that power source. So maybe if you disconnect the power source.
We will go and take a look.
Okay. And so I feel like I want to ask, so this is when Cornix, your roguish senses are tingling. You can tell that there are things waiting in the shadows. Even though these sleepers are like, made to stay calm because of the item that you're wearing, you have the sense that you're being watched by something that doesn't quite have. It's very predator animal like.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I would like to try and I think pinpoint where that's coming from, and I think initially, just scanning the room, I think finally going to use that seeing footsteps ability. Can I see any like immediate ones that don't belong to us that could be this predatory presence? Because then if not, I will find some action to take. But
yeah, so you can see like your footsteps. You also see the footsteps of the sleepers. Like you can see when they go in and out of their cocoons, like they move in like what looks like almost like a military fashion, right? Like they follow these specific footsteps. But you also see, they're not footsteps per se, but there is, the only way you can put it together is that whatever this thing walks like, they don't use feet, right? And they drag these very sharp tracks, and they move along the wall and up on the ceiling. And that's where they mostly stay, like up and down the ceiling, patrolling from there.
Delightful. Yeah, so following those tracks up along the ceiling and walls, do I find anything waiting for us there? Or is it just sort of that I can see that, there was and is perhaps something here, but it's too difficult to pinpoint using the tracks alone?
What you can see is like, there's something like webbing, except it's made out of sinew and other things that we won't go to too much detail of. And they're like, it's strange. It's almost like another type of cocoon. And then you see the same thing, like what you saw earlier, the skeleton that was being like sucked into the walls. You see like a similar thing happening there. But it's hard to pinpoint exactly where it is. You just know that it isn't here right now because these tracks are not super fresh.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So I think telling the rest of my companions sort of very calmly, a little quietly, that, hey, something else is in here. I mean, maybe not right. And it's most certainly watching us and knows we're here. And sort of start pointing out like the remnants of like those webbings and, putting that with the cocoon, be like, yeah, there were some red flags.
Did we lose Josh?
Oh no, the thing got him.
I'm so tempted to say that's what happened, but no. Okay, there's Josh. There's
Okay,
Josh.
he's back.
Okay, yeah, no, internet paused for a second.
No worries. Totally cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I will say, like, Cornix, if you want to proactively, make sure that this thing can't get the jump on you, you can do that. But if you just want to sneak past, right, and make sure that it can't find any of you, or they, I shouldn't say it could be a person, I don't know. I shouldn't be judgmental. But yeah. So how would you like to go about this?
Yeah, I feel like Cornix would probably lean more towards, if I can't necessarily find it this second, then we should make sure that we can't be seen, right? Because if it can't find us, it doesn't matter if we can find it, is his logic. So yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. So this sounds like we want to make sure everybody gets through. So this sounds like a group prowl roll, I think. So normally the way that this works is everybody takes a group action. But tell me if you don't think prowl works. But basically, everybody takes a group action. They have to roll with the same skill. There has to be someone who's going to be a leader, meaning they're the ones who are like making sure everybody follows their footsteps, and they're going to look out for the group as a whole. If anyone rolls amiss, that means that the leader takes stress for it for each missed roll, right? But that's only if someone rolls a 1, 2, or 3. Otherwise, as long as you roll a 4 or higher, you're good, right? And then we take the highest result too. Okay.
So I am definitely comfortable leading that. Prowl is Cornix's thing.
Absolutely. Okay, so how about, I think everybody has at least 1 die in prowl except for Chop. So with that in mind, everybody can roll their 1 die with prowl. Let me know if you want to push yourself or have someone, if you want to make a bargain. If not, since Chop doesn't have a dot in prowl, that means that she'll have to roll 2 dice and take the lowest. Unless you want to get help from your mask.
Oh, that's a good point. I should probably, yes, talk to my mask and go, how can I not be the one that fails them?
And I
worked
think
so hard on being ta-da.
this mask bargain is going to be a little difficult though.
Oh no, you're so unkind.
So Judgment says, I will help you hide your footsteps and shield your form from this poor wretched creature, but I must ask that you help it if you can.
Okay, this is the one. All right, I knew you would give me some hint.
And Judgment says, they're very important to Argon.
All right. In that case, yes. And I turn around and say, Judgment says that we should save whatever this is. That's when we're on our way out, okay? Oh boy.
Does anyone else want to make a bargain or push themselves? Though I will say 1 die is already quite good in prowl, but let me know what you think. Okay, so it looks like let's all
I got a 6.
ooh, worth the bargain.
Nice. All right, I'm rolling those 3 at the bottom.
Go ahead.
I think that is a 4 total, or highest.
Nice. Okay, very good. How about our Lady Samira? Would you like to roll your prowl?
I got a 3.
Okay, no worries. So we see Lady Samira like almost fall into one of those fleshy mounds for a moment. It's kind of like you see the skeletal like it looks like it's screaming at you, but it's not, right?
She does the stereotypical horror thing of like following the trail up and getting distracted and having the jump scare moment.
Absolutely, 100%. But Cornix is there to pull you back at the last second. So Cornix, please mark 1 stress for that horror B-movie moment. But yeah, how about John? Would you like to roll for Slick?
I got a 1.
Okay, so what does it look like when Slick doesn't quite keep up with everyone, or do they get distracted by something as well?
I think you catch Slick staring at this webbing and like almost instinctively reaching out as though he's about to start climbing it, like he's climbing, to a mast of a ship or something. And you catch his hand just inches away from grabbing onto the webbing.
That sounds like it deserves the 1 stress. Absolutely.
Perfect.
All right, how about Bastion?
Bastion rolled a big ol' 6.
Oh, perfect. So we take our highest, which is a 6. Good job, everybody. So both
Actually, we
chopped,
critted,
yeah.
didn't we? Because we got 2
Oh.
6s.
Oh, that is correct. You know what? I'm just gonna go with the crit. I'm always happy to give people a crit. I'm not sure if you can crit on a group action, but today I say you can. So,
Now, maybe that's a special ability, but I don't think.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. In exchange for all the body horror, I can be very generous right now. So I'm gonna say, like, as you, ooh, Bastion, this is very similar to when you were in the mansion. A part of the wall just starts to open up, right? And you can hear Fey voices whispering to you, Bastion, this way. Bastion, we've been doing what we can. And so, like, the Fae, the remnants of the Fae, you can sense they're like Fae ghosts, right? Like Fae who have died in this dungeon, but they're still looking out for you, Bastion. And so the group of you are able to swiftly make your way. I'm going to say the Fae are very nice. This part just looks like normal stone. Okay, so it's not, as you go in deeper. But with that critical success, you were able to go straight to the source. There's this part where the dungeon just abruptly, you can see like there are iron bars. You've been passing like a lot of these like prisons, these jail cells all the way here, but these look different. Like a lot of them are like huge, humongous. They're meant to house something that's not human sized, basically. And so, and then abruptly at one end, it just sort of like goes towards what looks like an open cove, like it's underwater, like half of it is underwater, and you can see the water is like glowing with this really strange substance. There's something that looks like seaweed that's moving back and forth, and the water moves with these strange bioluminescent colors almost, but it doesn't feel like normal magic. There's a toxic radioactive quality to all of this, and you can see like bodies lethargically moving, but they're all connected to, it's kind of like it's almost like IV tubes, right? Like very, you can see the copper and the brass and the metallic things that are all like pushed into their skins. And there's like a group of them, like about 6, but there's one very large figure underneath the water, like immensely large, like this, it has to be like 20 feet in length, that's sort of coiled up around itself, but it has most of the wires put into it, and it's coiled up around this like huge pulsating glowing energy, but it's hard to like see through the water. It's all very murky and the colors are distracting. So what do we do? But we've absolutely reached a power source. Yes.
Thinking that Cornix isn't going to be able to fit that inside of him. So that's...
She's thrown down the gauntlet. Challenge accepted.
That is a challenge.
Oh my god.
I mean, you do already have the dryads, and they might be able to help if you ask them.
What's more? Also, I will be that person and point out the time. We're a little past the hour. Do we want to consider the break?
I'm so sorry. I got so distracted.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah. No, that's so good. I was looking at the time going like, oh, after this, and I just got lost. Okay, let's take a break at this moment when everybody looks at Cornix. So we'll be back in 10 minutes. Okay. See you, everybody. All right. So I'm just laughing because I remembered we all looked at Cornix at this moment. It was like, but yeah, Cornix, there's a lot of pressure, but you could also find another way through this. Any ideas, or what would you like to do?
Geez. So there's the mermaids here, functioning as like the power source with all of the tubing and stuff implanted and embedded in them. And we want to get the mermaids out, presumably in one piece.
I will say this is a very good time for a flashback to say, like, we were prepared for this, right? In case you want to go that route. Even though I know the players don't feel prepared, the characters can be prepared.
Right,
So.
exactly.
Well, and one of the things is if it's a cove water, it means that they actually, like, there has to be seawater that's coming in from somewhere underneath. So there's probably like a gate or something down there.
Ooh, okay. So I think problem A is getting the mermaids detached. And problem B, I was very tempted to say 2, is then getting them out. So someone could maybe figure out a way to detach them. And I like your idea that maybe there's a gate or something under, which perhaps we had scouted out beforehand using a flashback, or at least a rough idea, and Cornix could like try and dive in to get that gate open or something.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like we have explosives and stuff. So I'm also thinking that maybe we need to try to clean up the water, because it's probably whatever this stuff is keeping the mermaids out of it as well. So.
And that would also be a good time to, in case you want to pick up a mask to address any of these problems, could also be a way to do that. Like, for example, Torment has, I cannot pronounce most of these. Suture? I'm not sure. But anyway, use stitches, powders, oh my gosh, another word, unguents, to repair people and things. Vivisect, use quick, precise blade strikes on the living and dead in case you want to like be able to free them that way. That's just one option. There's also, I mean, if you want to riot the mermaids, you can riot the mermaids. That's also like it depends. There are lots of ways you could approach this particular issue. But yeah, what feels the most fun and most interesting for everybody?
Something that we all get to work on. So, let's see here.
Mm-hmm. But also, like, Cornix, do you want to be possessed by the mermaids? Like, you know.
Because, you know.
I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Right.
I mean, if you want to have a conversation with Violence about it.
Yeah. I could see what my good friend Violence has to say about the situation, since Wen has, they've never steered me wrong before. Right?
Absolutely. And so as you sense the mask that you're carrying sort of pulse for a moment and reach out to you, you hear Violence say, "The mermaids were once our most fearsome warriors. They almost won the battle for us. And so perhaps we could find a way to make sure that you could keep them safe. The Dryads and I are very happy to help you."
Okay. All right.
And Violence says, "The strain shouldn't be too much. Should it become too difficult, I could bear the burden for you." And so basically offering a ban, right?
Cool. Okay, so that would at least partly remove the mermaids from harm, sort of taking them in a similar way as the Dryads, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm definitely up to do that. Does anybody else have input into the plan?
Oh, sorry, excited again.
Yeah, I am. I'm like, so you're going to take the souls in? Or are we going to get, she kind of goes, would that work? How would we get them new mermaid bodies?
I think Cornix pauses. It's like, yeah, it's not like you can grow a new mermaid body, kind of like the dryads.
Well, Violence does say, I am very good at creating such bodies. It is simply the reverse of what I do.
Yeah, I think Cornix answers Chop with, Violence said they'd take care of it. That's the explanation.
I
will-
like that. I think like Chop blinks very slowly and says, well, certainly, I trust judgment. I have trusted Riot. I can understand that you would trust Violence.
I will say that Violence says that they can make sure to protect the smaller ones, but the large one is going to be a different story. Violence tells you that their soul is too ancient and old. If you try to hold them within yourself, it could be too much, and even for the Mask of Violence. So that's the one that you'd still have to worry about, but the rest they can definitely help you with.
Okay. So on the subject of the largest mermaid and kind of going back to the idea that there's some sort of exit from this pool, presumably underwater, even if we didn't get them immediately with us, if we could somehow get them out to sea, perhaps, sort of away from all of this.
I mean, we do have a sailor with us who
we do, who's also good with explosives.
And
oh,
knots.
that's right. Wow, it's perfect. Oh my gosh. It's almost like I planned for this to happen. I mean, I really didn't, but I would just want to take credit and pretend I did.
Okay, so we've got explosives that we've planned for. And let's see here. So we got to get them detached. So we need to understand that. And we've got to clean that water out so people can get into it and not get sick. So, and then someone's got to placate the big mermaid.
Yeah, that's like, and that's all has to happen without tripping the alarms or letting Sister Red know what's going on. So I think we're officially in a risky sort of like position, right? We've left the controlled situation just to let
it's
everybody
gotten
know.
insane makers now at this point. So.
Yeah, we're not desperate, but we're in risky territory.
Okay. So I think I could try to clear the water enough so that we could bring the mermaids to their senses. But I don't know who would be best for doing the tubes or negotiating with the largest mermaid.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. We can do one step at a time. So how would you like to clear the water? Do you have a particular idea in mind, or a skill or an ability?
I was thinking of magic, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Since it feels like it's magic.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So I was thinking of actually pushing it out through that
Opening?
Way out. Yeah, the opening. It's
right.
like words. I didn't have them. Sorry. I apologize.
No. Totally.
I lost them all. So it would be more of a push than like a neutralize or anything.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, that would definitely make it a bit easier. So we'll keep it at risky standard. I'm going to say that the risk is it might I'm also having a hard time with words. Like it'll
flow back.
Yes. There we go.
Yes. Like if the tide is coming in or something. Yes. So we have to beat the tide. Okay. That seems reasonable. So I will attempt this. Let's see here.
So you have 2 dots for attune. People can assist you. You can push yourself. I can offer you a masked bargain.
I just can't say no to a masked bargain, I will admit. They're my favorite.
And so As you start to do this, judgment will say, if you truly are serious about becoming a mage rather than someone's general, there's that hint of jealousy again.
Can't be both.
You could be a general mage, you know. The GM says yes, you know. You know, it's just judgment who's being jealous. So, but judgment says, if you truly are serious, then that crystal, it could help power your spell, but you're going to have to unleash its magic, not possess it, simply allow it out into the world and let it become what it wants to become.
I know what that feels like. I think I can do it. Okay, so I'm going to unleash the power of that crystal.
So you have 3 dice. So you're at risky standard right now. If you want to drop it to desperate, so you get a great effect. But risky standard's also pretty good at this point, I think.
Do you want an assist, or are you feeling comfortable where you're at?
I would love an assist because
Okay.
this is a big old crystal full of big old magic. That's disgusting sister red magic. So
Samira will put herself in harm's way a little bit to help
Aw.
out.
best friends forever. All right, I think that's good. So I'll gather up some pink dice. Pink. Put one more out there. Now I have 4 pink dice. Now I'm going to roll them, but not destroy them. Okay. 4.
4's still good.
It's okay.
It's still good. It's still good, right? So there's just going to be a consequence or a complication. I'm going to say, like, as a GM, I never like taking reduced effect. I think that's always like the saddest thing that can happen after a roll. But anyway, so just my personal opinion. As you push the magic outwards, I'm going to say that the complication, like, so you can sense it, like it wants to move, right? It doesn't want to stay there. You can tell how unnatural it is, and how it was forced to drug the mermaids. It's kind of similar to what the Dryads went through. Like, they were kept in this like sleeping catatonic state somewhat. But once again, Sister's red magic is very rushed here. Like, she didn't have time to set her spells in place. And so as the crystal cracks and starts to open and the magic starts to pour out and seek freedom, the complication is a part of it is drawn to Samira.
I will protect Samira.
I mean, you could allow Samira to be touched by the magic, and you know, it could be part of the plan. And
It could be, but in this case, I hope that it will not be. Maybe it's because I would be jealous. She would have special mermaid magic and I wouldn't.
So this sounds like a resolve roll.
Yes.
Because it's connected to your attune for sure. So you have 2 dots. You know what? Let me just explain this to John real quick, just so that he can see. So we're saying it's a resolve roll, and then we're saying 2 dots because if we just look at the first column, there are 2 dots here. So that's how much she gets to roll to resist with. So if she had to resist with powers, it would just be the 1 die instead, right? Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to roll the 2 4s that I've raised up a little bit. We'll see what we get. A 6.
You are doing so well. She am not allowed to say anything. Okay, so
Yes.
take the 1 stress.
I'll take it.
And so as you know, I'm going to say, if you want to take the magic into yourself instead, right? Because you are a mage, you can handle it in a way that Lady Samira could not.
Except that I recall that Judgment said I would not do that and that I would unleash it. And so I will unleash it, even though it is delicious and pink, that magic. It sort of calls out to me.
Yeah.
I just pout a little while I unleash it.
Yeah, I think there's this sense of pleasure from gratitude, like, and pride, I'm going to say, as you unleash it. And as you touch the magic, you can sense that what the crystal is made out of is all the other souls of the mermaids that fell during battle all those years ago, all those generations ago. And so Sister Red had painstakingly collected each one in order to create this like jagged crystal of power.
I return them to the sea.
And so all of this moves out. The crystal is starting to fade and flicker as most of its magic is leaving. You can tell like the largest creature mermaid that was around it is starting to get agitated. It's like pulling at the wires. It's holding on. It's trying to keep the crystal together. You can tell that there's this sense of like, I was supposed to protect this. You can hear those ardent thoughts coming out, right? And so it's starting to get agitated. The water is starting to move, but it's clearer now. You can see very clearly each of the mermaids with I won't go into too much detail, but they're connected to the crystal, to all these wires that lead up through the dungeon into the walls, pulsating into the flesh. No more details, Jamie. And then as you can see clearer through the water, you realize each of these mermaids have like these strange, they look like statues, but they have these like grotesque faces, kind of like gargoyles. And they're each holding on to the mermaids under the water with these huge faces and lots of teeth. And like, even as you look at them, the eyes start to like move towards you to study what you're doing.
Okay. And the big one, I assume, is not held that way?
You can tell there
Right.
was something that was holding it, but it's just smashed to pieces. There are just all these rocks around it now.
All right. I'm like, Samira, if you could talk to the biggest mermaid, maybe tell them that we're here to help. And yeah, and watch out for those gargoyles. There, that's it. I'm done, guys. You've got this.
Samir's just kind of like nodding along that. Yeah, and is like, wait, gargoyles, and like looks down at the water.
And it's kind of like that same moment with the skeleton earlier, right? That bee horror, like shock.
Yeah, little like horror scene that she jumps back from. And I think, I mean, I feel like, you know, we're gonna be throwing down a little bit, so I feel like Riot might be better suited coming up here than, you know, my old Boo Lies. So I think Samira is gonna kind of don Riot at that point, and basically as the large mermaid is like getting agitated and starting to rise up out of the water, she just steps into its line of view and uses her light mesmerizing to try and like calm it, and basically like a snake charmer, almost just get it to like focus on her and calm down a bit.
That is such a good idea. That is so good. So Riot right now has 4 essence. Would you like to roll to like gain more essence or?
Oh yeah, I will make a deal.
So you have 2 oaths, so you get to roll with 2 dice, but what promise are you going to make? That's related to your, well, I can clearly see vengeance connection here, but you know, what oath will you make?
I think when Riot like whispers in the back of Samira's brain, she says back something along the lines of like, we will turn this castle into a cautionary tale for the vampires. Like we'll make them regret building their places of power. Basically saying like, if you work with me, we'll burn this place down.
Absolutely. And as you say that, you hear Riot say, this place was one of the last stands that we had. The king of the mermaids stood here and he fell. In his memory, we will burn everything in the ground together until there is nothing left.
Highest is a 4.
Ooh, nice. So on a 4, let me check my sheet essence. That means you gain 4. I think you'll fill up yeah, you fill it up.
Yes. Okay, perfect.
Nice.
Okay. And then when we put on the mask, we can change one of the special abilities
That's right.
for
You
the, okay.
can switch it out to anything you like. So right now you have right or wrongs in a single spark.
I feel like a single
Ooh.
spark is going to be coming up in a bit, especially if we are trying to blow off the gate to let this mermaid out.
Yeah, but fire rhetoric also looks good.
Yeah. Ooh, actually, that
Maybe
might...
you want to switch over right or wrongs. I don't know, but they're both good.
Yeah, unless anyone has ideas. I do like the fiery rhetoric. I just have like a, I don't know, like a vision in my mind of that working out somehow.
Go for it.
Okay. I'm gonna drop a single spark and do fiery rhetoric. And I think so Samira like gets the mermaid to like focus on her and then basically starts to try and calm it down at first, and then like the passion of Riot kind of gets to her a bit. I need to stop gesturing with my hands so much. Riot gets to her a bit, and she basically starts to talk about how, like, you know, she knows the mermaid king had fallen here, like this was the last great stand. And now Lady Red and her forces are sitting on his throne like usurpers. They're, you know, they're just right above the surface. Kind of like spark and start to like the latex IV tube starts to like burn and boil off and kind of just starts to like spark off of her and like a chain down her back.
Oh, I like that. Super good. So it really sounds, it sounds like burn to me, but I could see an argument for inspire.
Yeah, I'm kind of imagining inspire and then just using the ability for like the burn aspect.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Very cool. Yeah, so go
Okay.
ahead and spend, so in total, 3 essence because you're using
Okay.
the skill, and then 2 essence for your fire rhetoric. Okay, and then let's see how the roll goes. So that's currently 2. I can give you a mass bargain. You can push yourself. Other people can help you.
I mean, I will always take a mass bargain.
And so as you do this, Riot, ooh, I think Riot will say she was always meant to be free. The queen of the mermaids, the last survivor. But if you pledge your allegiance to her, and they leave it hanging in the air.
Hmm.
And then that's when you hear the other masks start to argue in the back of your head. No, what will that do with, no, it'll undo some of Caleb's magic.
Oh. And I think she kind of gets a feeling of like, I don't know, like Caleb was maybe doing something behind her back. So a little like impulsively, she pledges to the mermaid queen and says like, kind of just whispers to her, like, I would follow you in battle anywhere, even on the surface.
Ooh, nice.
I would take that bargain.
Let's see. So that's a total of 3 dice to roll with.
Okay. Let's see.
Oh, yes, Jerry. I said
I'll help.
Okay, I can see the helping face. Okay, so go ahead and mark stress, and then Joe, you get to roll with 4 dice instead.
Okay,
I assume that Chop is helping through more attunement through magic to assist. Okay.
So the highest roll I got was a 5.
Oh, nice. Okay, so I'm going to say, so this is what happens as you make that speech, as the chains start to light on fire. Wow, this is so cool. Okay, anyway, and so the entire cavern starts to fill with fire. It's even burning like near the Mermaid Queen, like where she is, like on top of the water, the fire is burning and it's like it's not going to go out. And she starts to rise through the water and the whole cavern starts to shake. And you can see breaking past through the water what remains of her shattered crown. You can see her large dark eyes, the scales on her face, the long flowing hair. Even when she breaks through the water, the hair still flows in the air as if it's moved by the water. And you can see the anger and the sorrow and the determination on her face as she reaches out a hand. And she's large, like her entire hand is your whole body, right? And so she reaches out and she just places the fingertip just against your head. And when she speaks, her voice echoes all throughout the cavern. And she says, Lady Samira, I will make a warrior out of you. I accept your allegiance. And so the consequence is that her voice reverberates the magic as she is pulled out of her reverie. And for sure, it's going to get back to Sister Red. That means you are running out of time. I'm going to create, unless someone wants to resist this consequence, I'm going to resist a 4-segment clock. And I'm going to fill the first one. Does someone want to resist?
I can definitely try, but if someone has like a cool idea for them, like resisting whatever Samira screwed up in the background, I also like that idea.
Well, it's less screwing up and more like when the Queen of Mermaids awakens, you know, like, oh, shall no. Yeah.
And you're the one going, shh, shh, shh.
Yeah. Inside voice, inside voice.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I feel looking at this, yeah, it feels like a resolve roll because it could be any combination. But yeah, definitely resolve. So you get to roll with 2 dice to resist.
Okay. And to push yourself, it's 2 stress, right?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't think you can do that for a resist roll, though.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. It's always flat. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So 2 dice. What's the worst that can happen? That is a 3.
Yeah, that shouldn't be too bad. So 3. Oh, looking at the wrong one. Take 3 stress.
Okay.
Oh, and also as a reminder, you can burn through your essence instead if you want, and the mask will take the stress. So you don't have to take it if you don't want to.
Can I split that?
Yeah, if you like, you can split it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll split that a little bit. Okay, perfect. Nice. Otherwise, like the sound still reverberates and like we know it's gonna get to Lady Red eventually.
Yeah. I'm gonna say like because you resisted, what's going to happen instead is the clock still stands, but I'm not gonna fill it, right? So the clock is there, and I feel like it's you and Riot standing together, like containing just the sheer aura so that it doesn't get past you, right? There's that fire. But does that sound fair? Like for resistance? Mm-hmm. Okay, just double checking. Okay, I'm gonna add the clock. Is alerted. I'll name it number of segments for. Okay. Let's see. I don't know where the clock went though. Does anyone see it?
Like, I can see it.
Okay, yeah. Cool. Maybe I just need to refresh. But yeah, as long as people can see it, that's what matters. Okay. So with that, oh, there it is. Hello. Okay. All right. I love the aesthetics. Okay. So with that, we have the queen. And so the original idea was to get her to leave, right? Just very, as you like. So she starts. Wow, there's a scene like this in Dragon Age Inquisition. Anyway, so as she starts to move towards the walls, so she's ready to move at any point. The thing is, I am going to say that if you let her leave in this current state, so she's ripping off the tubes, right? And as that happens, there's like wild magic starts to arc into the air, like lightning starts to zing from those points where like she pulled it off, right? And she moves towards the walls. If she can crush through it right now if she wants to. It will fill a segment on the clock for sure. Or we can have Slick sabotage things so that there's an easier opening for the Queen of Mermaids and all these other things. Oh, I have to ask, did Violence do the violence thing yet with Cornix, or are the mermaids still hanging out there?
I don't think we actually got to the soul stuff just yet.
No worries, no worries. We can leave that for the
But-
grand, finale
Yeah.
for sure. So, Slick, would you like to? I'm gonna say like as a free flashback because we already said that you came in with your, it's not co-sailor. That's not the word.
The navigator.
There you go, the navigator.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's another word that's not co-sailor. Crewmate? Anyway, former crewmate. So anyway, the navigator. I can say like the two of you work together to already set different like explosives ahead of time. So you'll still have the flashback, but you just won't pay stress for it. And you'll still have to roll to see how it goes though, basically. Does that make sense? Okay. So we have this flashback of the two of you jumping from like rock to rock, placing these explosives. For your gear, you'll have to mark that that's what you used. So if you scroll down to equipment and load, which I promise I'm going to update the view stuff, but demolition tools will take up 2 slots out of your 5. Okay, cool. All right, and so with that, I'm looking at what you have.
You choose a mask.
Ooh, yeah. Would you like a mask to assist you? You could also use your own skills if you like. So either is totally doable.
I don't think I need a mask at this point.
Yeah,
because this is kind of what Slick does.
Yeah. And the mask is really there to like fill in the gaps of what you can't do as well. So yeah, I feel like that totally makes sense. Yeah, so this could be totally wreck because you are wrecking shit up. I will accept that unless you think there's something else. Daniel looks so excited about the wreck.
Nope, wreck is good.
Okay, so you already have 3 dice to help you with. People can assist or you can push yourself. I'll say right now, I'm like thinking about the situation that you're in. Y'all, I feel like we're getting into desperate territory because we have that clock up and then, so I think we're desperate. But I will say that the effect is great because you are a saboteur. I will say that this is what you know how to do.
Well, and I was gonna ask too. I'm a little unclear on this. I think you said this is all as part of like a flashback.
Yeah.
We're talking about. So I'm picturing sort of running around maybe like the base of the island that this whole castle's on, crawling into these like tiny sea caves that have just over centuries of time eroded from the coast. And so I wonder if like my rigor trait comes into effect because that's scrambling in and out of tight holds, and I can picture Slick like tying rigging up the demolitions and tying it into place into these tiny crevasses that kind of snake their way underneath the castle.
Yeah, absolutely. I think with that we could even have both the Cogscam veteran and the rigor help you here. So it's going to be an extreme effect for sure, like extremely amazingly. If you depending on how this roll goes, you can tell me that multiple explosions go off at once, not just here, right? To let out the queen. So does that sound?
Would you be? Would you be cool accepting some help?
Always.
Awesome. We have established in the past that Bastion enjoys a good explosive. So I think maybe if you're cool with it, maybe you and Bastion did sort of this setup together. Bastion coming from sort of like a fishing village. He is very, very good at diving and holding his breath and things like that. So maybe as you were going through some of like the smaller spaces that he definitely couldn't fit in, he was diving down, and putting some explosives on supports and things like that.
I can picture too that from the picture, Bastion looks a bit stronger, and so fighting the current and having to be a strong swimmer, and like Bastion having to like help pull Slick through the strong undercurrent to get into those areas.
Right. Cool. Yeah, I will offer up a die for help.
Awesome. So let's go. So it's desperate. I'll say the reason why it's desperate also is the whole time that you're doing this, you see more and more of those weird statues all over the place, right? So let's see how this flashback goes, and let's roll 4 dice for Rec.
4 dice in total. Okay, I'm gonna release bomb 4 right here. So it looks like highest is a 5.
Nice, very good. Okay, so on a 5, there's going to be like a serious complication, but it will happen exactly as you like. So you do what you want to do. So Slick, what parts, if you want to tell me that the whole castle starts coming down, you can do that, right? But tell me what is rigged to explode at this moment.
I think it's a chain series of explosions. This is just the first round, and there's a second round that's set to go off at like 15 minutes from now. So this is almost in a sense, like Inception when the music changes, like that's their signal. It's almost like that of like, this is our first one. It's sort of the outer ring. And so probably where this pool is like helps open up that hole back to the sea. And we know like, okay, we've got 15 minutes, and then that's when the big ones are going off, and this castle like will be teetering at that point.
Awesome. Absolutely. So what that also means, John, is you can tell me at any time, at any roll or any point in the future when the rest of the bombs go off, right? So as part of that roll. And so with that, we cut to the explosions going off, and Cassandra and Zachariah looking at each other, and Cassandra saying, I don't remember Cornix being this flashy and loud last time when we were young. And Zachariah rolls their eyes and says, I don't know, this rebellion is... Anyway, let's follow the plan. And then you can see like they tell the rest of the mercenaries to like move in and push in, right? They've completely broken into the castle. You can see they have a battering ram that breaks through the huge doors, and they just start swarming in, fighting off these like Emesians and gore masses. It's like fleshy, grossy. We won't go into detail, but they're doing well because the explosions are going off. And then we cut back to as the queen is like looking at you, Lady Samira, there's this huge explosion behind her, and we see like she's surrounded in this like aura of fire, and she nods and she says, Lady Samira, when I have need of you, I will return. And then she very like, despite her size, she moves so fluidly, so gracefully, just slips into the water, letting go of the last of the crystal as she disappears into the ocean. And so when that starts to happen, the rest of you can see, I'm going to say that those explosions, as cool as they were, part of the complication is that it fills up the clock, right? I feel like it's kind of fair, right? Sister Red is like, shit is going up. Oh, you can resist it if you like, sure. Would you like to resist it?
You should always resist.
Absolutely.
I think Bastion and Slick have the first opportunities to resist.
Yeah, if any of you two would like to resist, maybe they were quiet explosions.
Yeah, I'm happy. Yeah, we could say that they were set in a way to sort of mimic like the sound of crashing waves or something. But since we're lower down, right, we can really hear them. But from outside, it might just sound like crashing waves echoing.
Yeah, and we can say like Sister Red, the way that you set up the explosions, right, is she thinks it's a mercenary. She won't know that something nefarious
There's a battle
is
going
down
on outside.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see the resist roll. I think this sounds like, this sounds like prowess to make sure that you can pull it off. I could also accept insight, though in your case both are the same. You have 2 dice to roll with.
All right, let's see. Let's roll 2 and 5.
Nice. Okay, so on a 5, you only have to take 2 stress in order to, we see Slick moving back and forth, making these fine adjustments just to make sure. I want to say that you even force Cassandra and Zachariah to bring some like throwaway explosions just so they can make it louder from their end. Yeah, it's us doing it. Rawr! Like throwing it around. Oh gosh, I went over the time again. Okay. So I think we're gonna take a break here, and when we're always like cutting back to Cornix for the break, huh? And we're gonna cut back to Cornix. It's so funny too. Yeah, it's exact same. Are we gonna absorb mermaid moments for the break? Is everyone okay with a slightly shorter break, like 5 minutes? Okay, cool. All right, so I'll see everybody in 5 minutes. All right, so once again, the camera goes back to Cornix and the question of but you can sense the power of violence. The mask starts to come together as they prepare themselves for the next step. But what do you do?
So I think definitely probably don the mask of violence, as a part of this process. I'd imagine it's not super easy, sort of opening up yourself to some extra souls. So whatever violence might be doing to facilitate or stabilize that, probably easier while donned.
Yeah, absolutely. So would you like to, you're already at 5 essence, but in case you would like to pledge an oath, you can do so.
I mean, why not? When has that ever gone wrong?
Absolutely. So you have 2 dice to roll with. What oath are you going to make to violence that's based on freedom?
Well, I don't. It was a little cheap to make the oath of like, yeah, we're gonna get these mermaids out of here because we're already doing that anyway.
Well, he might want to add a clause to it or something.
Sure.
So as you offer to ensure the safety of the mermaids, I think what violence would want is how mean does Jerry want to be?
You can be very mean if you want to. It's fun.
So the Mask of Violence says, Master Tolan knows more than he is willing to say about the mermaids. You must get him to admit what he knows.
Okay. All right. We get Tolan into some more trouble. That's fun. I'm into that. Yeah, sure.
Absolutely. Okay. So this is like, I'm going to say I'm slightly bending the rules because normally the oath is supposed to be something that can be done within the foray, but I'm bending it slightly, just a bit. So if anyone would like to bend it slightly in the future, I'm also okay with that. Okay, so go ahead and roll with your 2 dice.
All righty. 5 is the highest.
Yeah, that'll definitely fill your track. So go ahead and do that.
Sweet.
All right. And so with that, we have our oath pledged. You have what does it look like when you put on the Mask of Violence?
So again, Cornix does the thing where he doesn't necessarily like pull it out of wherever he's carrying it, but kind of like does that, and the mask follows his hand as he puts it on. I think to go with the marine vibes, the mask is violence today is very angled and pointed, almost appearing to have some shark teeth in there, just to better suit the mood.
Nice, nice. So would you like to move any of the abilities around, or?
I think I'm going to leave those where they are now. So we have Taunt, Blood Taker. See around from front. Yeah, I think good for now.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, and so with that, let's see how it goes. So do you think, I could see an argument for several skills, like direct could work if you're rallying the mermaids to give up their physical bodies.
Ooh, yeah, I like that, especially because they've been framed as being warriors, so it's more of like commander's orders, kind of, we're in the midst of a battle right now. You need to listen to me, and this is the plan.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have 1 die for that. I can offer you a bargain.
Well, I can't say no to that, can I?
I think violence would say, once I have given the mermaids new form, I would like you to be their commander.
Ooh.
Which would mean
Okay.
like sort of like more responsibility between the dryads and the mermaids, but it's okay.
I mean, I think definitely in the heat of the moment, Cornix is interested in that idea, leading the charge. Yeah, I will accept the bargain
Absolutely.
and
So you have
make
2
more
dice.
problems for Cornix.
Oh yeah, 100%. So you have 2 dice already. Would anyone like to offer help in some way, or maybe not Chop, because I'm sure Chop has a lot of stress at this point.
Usually, but doing okay so far.
Ooh, okay, only 2. That's not bad.
Yeah, so I can help.
Yeah.
And so
I'm just thinking, shouldn't it be a little more? Because I know you helped twice already, and that you resisted twice so far. I'm not sure though. Am I misremembering?
Wait. No, I helped once, and I resisted once. Did I resist twice?
Yeah, when Sisters read like thread thing, like the first time.
That was the first time.
Yeah, and then the second time was Lady Samira and the crystal power thing that she could have gotten.
Oh, okay. If I rolled on that, then okay. Then I got 3. So
yeah,
but,
not bad.
Okay.
Still good. Good.
So I would certainly help if no one else wants to.
I won't say no.
Okay. I'll fix my thing.
Yeah, and I can see how judgment and violence will work together to have this happen. So let's see that roll. That's 3 dice.
Alrighty, here we go. 5 is the highest.
Ooh, nice.
Good.
I'm so sorry, I forgot to establish the effect, but I was going with Desperate Great. Are you okay with that? Or
I'm fine with that. This is appropriate for Desperate.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead and mark XP for Desperate. I forgot to mention.
Ooh, yes.
John for Luhan. You always get XP for rolling a Desperate action. So since you rolled Wreck under Desperate, you get 1 XP. There's a little section for XP that you can. Yeah, I see that you see it. Okay, perfect.
This one goes on the mask action, right?
Yes, for you. Because you're using the mask. Perfect. Okay, so with that, it starts to, you can see, wow, I think this is like Little Mermaid on steroids kind of situation. Anyway, so all of the bodies start to light up. You can see them starting to float through the water, like start to break through. You can see like what's connected to them is like starting to snap and break. and the souls start transferring towards your body. Because you rolled a 5, it means you do what you want to do, you know, so it does start to transfer towards you. You can feel you would think that you were hitting your limit between the 3 dryads, and now there's like a dozen mermaids, but for some reason your soul feels expansive. And there's a moment when Violence says, yes, you were made for this. We made sure that the vessel would be ready for this moment and for future moments. And as that happens, you can see flashes of the mermaids fighting through the waters, coming from their ships, sabotaging the ships of the vampires, fighting valiantly. And you can see a flash of one of their own betraying them, and that's how they lost. And then the consequence of this action, which you can choose to resist if you like, is that this is going to, I think this is desperate. So we're going to have 2 consequences. The first is I'll tick the clock twice for Sister Red, because she has lost most of her power source at this point. It's going to be hard for her to miss. The second consequence is the statues start moving, because this was like the last insurance thing that, you know, that Sister Red had in place to make sure to protect her bounty, to protect her power source. So they all start to move and shift, and like you can see the stone starting to crack away, and you can see the flesh pulsating underneath. It's very much like the same flesh that's of the walls of this dungeon, and they all start converging towards you, trying to desperately attack you. Like they don't even, there's no way they can reverse the process, but and there are quite a few of them. Like each mermaid was being held by at least one, so there's like more than a dozen of them breaking through the water trying to get to you. So you can resist either or both consequences.
I think it makes sense to tick the clock up, because we're essentially removing the rest of the power source. I don't know how she wouldn't notice that. With the gargoyles, like, so we've taken care of the power source, freed the giant mermaid. I mean, I don't think we have any other major objectives here.
Ooh, here we
For
go.
saving some folks.
We do
Okay.
have saving some folks. We do have.
That's right.
Yeah, if you want to, another objective is to kill Sister Red herself. But I will say that if you take out her power source, she's probably going to die a slow and horrible death anyway. I'm going to put that. She might do something horrible before she dies, but she's going to. I'll be frank. She's going to die anyway because you've taken away her power source, and this was her last chance. Yeah.
But since we still have, the saving, potentially killing Sister Red, I think I will try and resist the gargoyle statue one, just to give us more room to maneuver as we pursue those future objectives.
Absolutely. So go ahead and resist. This sounds like, how do you want to resist them? Do you want to use your physical prowess? Do you want to?
That's what I'm thinking here.
Yeah.
I mean, I think prowess does make some sense, either by attempting to physically break some of these statues, or some, coupled with violence, like forcing them back somehow.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Yeah, I feel like that absolutely makes sense. So that's 2 dice to resist with.
Okay. Where am I going? Cool. This is the for Cortex, wanted it to be 3 prowess, because I got 3 down.
Oh yeah, sorry, I misread that. Let's see.
So I just wanted to double check.
Yeah, I was looking at the wrong one. Sorry. I'm so used to Cortex
No
being the last one. I was looking at Luhan's by accident. Yeah. 3,
no.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. It just makes me feel a little more confident rolling. Because I was like, should I burn any essence or anything? I was like, no, 3d6 is fine. All right. 4.
Oh, nice. That's still pretty good. So that is in total 4, meaning you only have to take to stress, right? And once again, you can burn up your essence if you want to do that. Violence would be happy to do so.
I'll take the stress right now. I can afford it.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So you push yourself, and you can feel violence syncing up with you. And even though violence offers to take the brunt of the force, you can feel that they're surprised that you're going to do it yourself. And there's a voice of violence saying, perhaps I should have talked to the other masks and make sure that the vessel wasn't so eager for to hurt itself, but that is fine.
We'll unpack the whole vessel thing later. A little busy right now.
Absolutely. Okay, so I think looking at the time, I think I would feel comfortable if we had a few more actions and then we just rounded off the foray next session, if folks are cool with it, right? And John, of course, is like welcome to join us next time. So, or the rest of the series this month. So yeah, because I'm greedy and I want all my players. Okay, so with that, I think the clock is close to filling, and yeah, I'd like to see. So, oh, I'm sorry. I should also verify what happened with the resist. So, with that resist roll, most of these weird, creepy statues have been dealt with, but there's still about 6 of them left, and they're still moving through the water, trying to get to Cornix. You can see Cornix whirling around, doing his swashbuckling thing, taking care of most of them through the help of violence. But Bastion, if you want to come in and swing that big axe of yours to catch the rest, or if you have something else in mind.
No, that's fine. I was honestly kind of hoping that Sister Red would make it down here.
Sorry, caught the tail end.
That's why I haven't offered to resist any clock stuff.
Yeah. If you want to call her here and force her to face you.
No. We'll just I'm happy to swing an axe at some of these folks. So I guess it'd be a skirmish, yeah.
Yeah.
What are we at for
I'm gonna say right now, I'm taking into account what's going on in the scene. I think we're still desperate only because of Sister Red showing up at any moment, and we still don't know about that other creature and stuff. So there's still stuff hanging in the air that could make this thing go really bad. So still desperate, but you mark XP for it. I'm gonna say the effect is at least standard.
Okay. Yeah, let's see. I'll pop a couple dice out here. Let's see. So this will be just a skirmish roll. I think I'm just gonna go with a straight 2 and let's see what happens.
Sure.
So I'm gonna roll these 2 guys here. Boop boop. And a 5.
Nice. Very good. Very good. All right. So on a 5, you do it. You cleave through most of them. Do you want to tell us what that looks like and stuff?
Yeah, I think that Bastion is just taking his large 2-handed axe, which he of course wields in one hand, and is just like swinging it in these wide sweeping arcs at them. And he is, while he's doing it, he's like humming this dirge in a really low, like echoey voice that kind of like reverberates around in the cavern. And it's like an old fishing song from his village. And that's what he that's sort of what he uses to get in the groove. But yeah, it's just like his action just like scything back and forth in like this really strangely relaxing yet terribly effective rhythm.
Oh yeah, almost like as if Bastion's moving in slow motion while everything is like moving quickly around them. I love it. Yeah, and so as that happens, I'll say, so on a 5, that's a good roll. There's only 1 consequence that occurs. So as you cleave through and move through them, you realize that they're breaking apart more easily than you expected, because the power through the crystal and the mermaids leaving, it's all fading away. And that was what was powering these statues, in essence. We cut to a lot of the statues around the castle starting to crumble away and seep blood into